Welcome to the Just Live podcast. I'm your host, Olivia Stevens, and I'm inviting you in on my personal journey of learning and discovering how to live a life with more connection, joy, and purpose. I'll be sitting down with people from all walks of life to dive into topics including trauma, mental health, mindfulness, the nuances of love and relationships, and much more. I hope these conversations empower you to expand on what serves you, release what doesn't, and just live. Hello and welcome back to the Just Live podcast. I'm your host, Olivia Stevens. The cat is attacking birds, and so I apologize if he jumps through the frame. There's also like a very large crow, and it's kind of freaking me out. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Let's see. I feel like the last time I did a solo episode, I was talking about getting back into the dating scene, and I downloaded Hinge, which, surprise, surprise, has since been deleted. I know. I think anyone out there that has used the apps. Is this crow serious? Go away. This can't be happening. Anyway, hopefully you can't hear it. If I record this whole episode and you can hear a crow, I apologize. Anyway, I deleted Hinge because it was just irritating, and I just felt like it was just a lot of time spent on an app and not really feeling like I was getting anywhere, or there were any prospects that seemed promising. And I also just don't want to be staring at my phone for 30 or 40 minutes in addition to the time I already spend, on my phone for email and social media for work and all these other things. So I was like, I'm going to delete this for now. Might try again later. But the last episode, I kind of got into a little bit of like the surface level fears or hiccups, when you start dating again, as far as, texting goes, going on dates, this, that, and the other. But I've been talking recently, with a few people that I kind of come in contact with that have brought up the podcast and have talked about going through similar experiences as far as breakups are concerned. And I've realized there's a lot of deeper fears that come up when it comes to dating, and I think I kind of wanted to dive in to those a little bit more. We can all complain about the apps and, how frustrating it is to do the texting game back and forth and, joking about having to talk about your hobbies and your favorite color again. But there's definitely a lot of fears that come up when you do go through a breakup that was significant and devastating. So when you go to re-enter into the dating world, it can be really scary. And I've noticed that with myself, a lot of hesitation in opening up to people, a lot of fears around whether or not I feel as if I'll be able to trust anybody again. For anyone that's just now jumping in, I was cheated on in my previous relationship, and I think even prior to that, I've been working through a lot of insecurities. And so getting back into the dating world and feeling like I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to trust anybody again. It's going to be really hard for me to separate what happened in the past and not bring that into something new. I think as far as infidelity goes, when you're completely blindsided, you feel like not only can you not trust the person that is in front of you that's telling you that they love you, that you can trust them, that they're there for you, that they're your partner, but you lose so much trust in yourself and your own judgment and your own intuition. And I think that's been an incredibly challenging thing for me to work through, learning to really feel and listen to what my heart is telling me, what my intuition is telling me, what my body is telling me, and trusting it and not ignoring it. I think for so long I've suppressed feelings that would come up because I wanted to please somebody else, make other people happy. Maybe I thought that I was too sensitive, or that, how many times have you been told, stop overthinking it? You're overthinking it. You're thinking too much. Stop overthinking it. And so then you begin to lose trust and you start to question, well, maybe I do think things too much. Maybe I am feeling too much. Maybe this is all in my head. So being able to reconnect with the version of yourself that is deeply connected to your intuition and deeply connected to your inner knowing has been something that I've been working through. I think another challenge when it comes to dating is if you've spent any time after a relationship really doing some self-inquiry and inner work about what was your part in the fallout of the relationship, what could you have done differently, recognizing patterns and behaviors that aren't serving you, learning to change those behaviors and patterns, and really showing up as a different person when you've done all that work and then you enter the dating world is really challenging. It feels as if to kind of find a counterpart that's done similar work and that has done a lot of self-inquiry and exploration into learning their patterns and behaviors and learning what their wounds are, understanding any trauma that they have that's impacting how they show up in relationships. So that's really tough because you do all this work and you want to be met, with the same level of self-awareness and the same level of understanding and compassion and emotional intelligence and effort. I think that's the biggest thing, is that I'm showing up for myself so I can show up better for someone else. So how is somebody else doing the same? Are they doing the same? And where are they? I've been working through insecurity. I've been working through unworthiness, but for a very long time, seeking relationships with people that were emotionally avoidant and essentially would be kind of rejecting me or pushing me away and pulling away, because I guess the inner child in me wants to finally secure that love from that person, wants to finally feel worthy enough to receive the love from that person, and wants to prove to that person, like, I'm good enough for you. And I've noticed with just recent dating patterns since I've been single that I'm not falling victim to that, I think, nearly as much as I would in the past. I'm recognizing behaviors in other people a lot sooner and noticing that, okay, this person is pulling away. How am I going to respond? What do I have control over? Am I going to keep reaching and seeking and searching? Am I going to suppress my needs? Am I going to blur my boundaries for the sake of this person? Absolutely not. So being able to identify that and recognize that that's happening, I think, is really important. Of course, there's still these moments where I feel insecure and I feel rejected. I'm like, why doesn't this person like me? What am I doing wrong? But then I'm able to come back and say, okay, what can you control? Why is it that you have to have that person, or you have to prove that you can get this person's affection and you can get them to like you? What does that prove? How does that make you any better? In the past, if someone was really inconsistent or emotionally unavailable and kind of gave me attention and then pulled away and gave me attention and pulled away, I would let it affect me so much. My emotions were completely at the mercy of someone else's actions. And if you allow other people's actions to impact how you feel every day, you are going to be miserable for the rest of your life. I cannot do that anymore. If someone is inconsistent, if someone is avoidant, and if they can't meet me where I'm at, or they can't show up and take responsibility and take ownership and say, you know what, I'm recognizing this is a pattern. I'm going to work on this. I want to do this with you, or I need to take some time, whatever that may be. If they can't do that, then you need to make the choice how you are going to respond and move forward. You can either allow yourself to be completely at the mercy of someone else's behavior and emotions and patterns and feelings, or you can take agency and say, they are going to act how they're going to act, but this is what I can do. This is my part. This is how I can respond. So whether or not that means saying no thank you and moving on, or just placing any sort of boundary in place that respects where you are and what your goals are and how you expect to be treated. I think in those situations, the best thing that you can do is say, what is it that I'm doing that's attracting this? What's coming up for me in these moments when these people are pulling away or they're avoiding? Doing the work to understand, why is it that I'm attracting that? I'm drawn to that. What's being reflected back to me? What is this showing me? What is this telling me? Do I still feel the need to seek validation and worthiness outside of myself? Am I still trying to secure this attachment that is something that I didn't receive when I was, forming attachments as a child? Was there someone that was emotionally disconnected? Was there a caregiver that wasn't attuned emotionally or was absent emotionally? And then how can I meet those needs myself and not seek them outside of myself and not seek them within a relationship? That way I'm not continuing this pattern of always seeking these emotionally unavailable people to prove and to secure this love that I'm seeking for, that I have to give myself, that I have to source from within. So I can understand where a lot of people are hesitant and a little fearful to get back into the dating world because it's scary, especially if you were really hurt and traumatized in your last relationship. Of course you want to kind of isolate and protect yourself. No one wants to experience that pain, but we need relationships and we need connection in order to live and to grow. So we have to put ourselves out there. And I think instead of having so much emphasis on the outcome of every connection or relationship that you have, I think the emphasis should really be on, how can I grow in this environment with this person? What is this person able to teach me? What can I learn from this situation? And it takes the pressure off of what's going to happen. What is this going to be? Where are we going? I think that makes it a lot easier when you reframe it. I think every relationship can be used as a mirror to show you what you still need to heal and learn in your journey. And I think it makes it a lot easier, and you approach things so much differently, because instead of saying, what is this person going to give me? You just simply say, what can I learn here? What can this show me? What can this teach me? I think that that's a great way to re-enter the dating world, relieving a little bit of pressure from ourselves and feeling like, this last relationship felt like a, quote, failure, even though nothing is a failure. You've learned from it. You've taken things from the experience. You've been able to grow. It can be intimidating. It's hard to be vulnerable and to let people in, especially when you came from a relationship where I'm sure you were incredibly close with that person. They probably knew everything about you. But you're a different person now, and there's more for you to learn and discover. And so just be open-minded to the opportunities that are out there and the connections that you can make. I think the best thing that you can do is keep an open mind and go into it with as much love and openness and vulnerability as you can, with knowing that whatever happens, happens, and there's always something that you can take and learn from every connection that you make. So, good luck out there. Thanks for listening. And as always, please leave a review, subscribe on YouTube, hit the follow button on any of the streaming platforms, Spotify, podcast, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Follow me on Instagram at Just Live Podcast. And yeah, well, thanks, and I'll see you later.